Alright, so let's start off by saying that this video isn't scripted, so I might go on tangents, I might start rambling, but let's talk about my time with the Canon R3. And before we talk about the Canon R3, let me set the stage for you guys. I shoot Sony. I shoot on the FX9 right now. Prior to that, I filmed everything on the A7IV. Before that, I had a GH5. Before that, I had a GH4. Before that, I had a Canon 6D Mark II, and then also had the Canon 6D, and then before that I had the Canon T3i. So my roots begin with Canon. Actually, they begin, I think, with Panasonic. I had a Lumix Coolpix, a little camera that filmed 1080p 16:9 back when everything else was filming 4:3. This is a long time ago. HD was the thing. So yeah, I've been around for a while, and I've been filming with Canon for a while, and my first camera that I fell in love with is the Canon T3i. If you search back into the archives of this channel, you'll be able to see some videos, or a video of me unboxing that camera, and I felt like, man, this is gonna revolutionize everything. I have interchangeable lenses now. This is amazing. So I love Canon. A lot of my earliest, fondest photos and videos are on Canon cameras, and yeah, but Canon, I've always felt, has been like photo first. Even a lot of their hybrid cameras, I always felt like they leaned heavily into photo, and then video was an afterthought, especially early on. Like, this is back in the day. So right now, everyone I feel like is all in on video, and I think the Canon R3 is probably like the best hybrid option coming from Canon right now. It's a little bit overkill actually when it comes to photo, because I do still think that it's a photo first camera. Especially for like sports photography with the burst speeds and all that crazy stuff, and the eye tracking autofocus. If you're doing video, you're probably not putting your face up to the viewfinder and tracking things with your eyeball. So I was going through my YouTube analytics, Google Trends, doing deep research, right? And it looks like a lot of people are searching up the Canon R3. So I was like, man, dope, let me go ahead and rent the Canon R3, make a video about it. I shoot Sony, I could do one of those cliche, I'm switching to Canon videos, but I'm not really switching. But I can make some content about this camera. And I was thinking like, I could put it up against the Sony A7IV. Only problem is I don't have a Sony A7IV. And being that this is just a photography showdown, you know, of course the Canon R3 kills the A7IV on video. And also, like, you know, sports photography and bursts and all that stuff like that. But just for general portrait photography, I was like, this would be a pretty good head-to-head. Let me go ahead and hit up my friend Stevie, and because I know he has a Sony A7IV. Let me see if he'd be down to do a little photo shoot. I took some headshots of him. You took some, like, you know, senior photos of each other, and I like the results, honestly. And we're gonna compare those photos here. But also, before we do that, be sure to check out Stevie's Instagram. It's Crime Valley. He has his own photography, videography business. I don't know if you can see this. Is autofocus on? Bam! Crime Valley. So that's his Instagram. Check him out. He makes awesome content. He's a filmmaker, photographer, and he helped me out with this video. So before we get to the comparisons between these two cameras, I first want to say that this is strictly photo based. We just did a quick portraiture photo shoot. We took some senior photos of each other with both of these cameras. So I wasn't doing like the sports photography that this, you know, Canon R3 is built for. It's built for, you know, fast shutter speed, crazy fast burst frames, whatever. You're at the F1 racetrack, you're, you know, filming something super fast paced, you know, you need the machine gun shutter. This wasn't that test. This was just, you know, some portraits, some cool, you know, full-length body shots, street photography, I guess you could say. And I just wanted to get some samples to compare head-to-head to see how these, you know, cameras perform. I think in that scenario there, it's kind of an even playing field. You're probably looking at both these cameras like, the R3 is like $6,000 and the A7IV is not $6,000. The R3 is probably way better, but in terms of just, you know, portrait photography, it's a pretty even playing field. You could honestly go with any camera nowadays with a decent megapixel rating, even if it doesn't have a crazy high megapixel rating. You can get good sharp images for social media. And if you're just doing portraits, it's mostly about your lighting, composition, and everything else, which is kind of what this test showed me. All right, so I'm gonna put these photos up on screen right now, and instead of actually telling you which photos came from which camera, I want you to tell me. So is Sony A, is Canon B, is Canon A, is Sony B? Let me know down below in the comments, and let's see if your eye is pretty accurate, and see if you can find and detect the Canon colors versus the Sony colors. My main takeaway from this is that the lighting and the composition really was the important factor when taking these photos and comparing them and going through the motions with these cameras and taking them back into the edit and, you know, putting the same exact LUT on them, you know, having the same creative choices with my split toning and how I do my shadows and, you know, all my little tweaks and clarity and all that stuff. All my edits were pretty much the same. I copy and pasted them from photo to photo, and I did minor tweaks here and there, but I was able to get an image that I was really satisfied with from both of these cameras. They're both clean, they're both sharp. You could say that the Sony is a little bit sharper if you're pixel peeping, because it is technically a higher resolution because it's a higher megapixel sensor. And if you guessed that Sony is A and Canon is B, then you are correct. So I got this camera because I reached out to Lens Rentals in an effort to figure out a way to make more content for this channel. I wanted to see if I could reach out to them and get some type of sponsor or like ambassadors, some type of something, so that way I can get gear, review it, and, you know, shout them out, and then make video content for you guys. If you guys want to like know about cameras or lenses or whatever, I'd have access to all this gear, and then I could give you guys content. So I reached out to them. They sent me an email back and told me they actually have an ambassador program. So I was like, oh, dope. Let me apply for that. Applied for that, got approved, and I got a credit to actually rent this Canon R3 and the 35mm f1.8. So if you're in a need to rent any gear, feel free to use my code. You get a discount, I believe. I'll leave my code on the screen here, leave it down in the description. If there's a link that you can use also, I'll leave that down, all the stuff in the description. But in turn, of course, you're gonna be renting gear. You're gonna rent it from somewhere. Might as well rent it from Lens Rentals. And if you follow this channel, you follow this content, you might as well use my code, so that way I can make more content for you and rent more stuff and talk about more gear. And it's a win-win-win, you know. I don't get paid at all for the code or anything like that, or affiliates. I don't get a commission. It just helps me get like a bank of credits, so that way I can rent more gear and make more content about those videos. You know how it goes. It's a cycle. So help with the cycle. I appreciate you guys for even watching the content. And I guess that was this video sponsored by section, but yeah. Honestly, these cameras are both really dope. I'm not a big fan of the Team Sony versus Team Canon. I think all these are tools, and they all do a great job. We're kind of, you know, spoiled in that fact that we have so much technology at our hands. Gear does matter. I'm not gonna say that. Gear definitely matters, which is why I'm filming on, you know, a $12,000 camera with expensive lenses, and, you know, I have this audio mic and lighting and all that stuff. Gear matters. But I don't think it matters what brand of gear you get. You can honestly get a good image out of any of these companies, you know, even Nikon. You know, Nikon's out here, a lot of buzz right now with their new cameras. I was able to get a good image out of both of these cameras. One thing I will say though that I really enjoyed about the Canon R3 was the ergonomics. Having that built-in grip where you can easily switch it to portrait. I shot on a bunch of stuff. And I really enjoy the Canon 1DX Mark II. I filmed a lot of short film content on that for this last production company that I worked for a couple years back, but I really enjoyed the ergonomics of the 1DX Mark II, and coincidentally enough, that camera actually belonged to Stevie as well. But I feel like the Canon R3 is like the mirrorless version of the 1DX Mark II. I was extremely impressed with the Westcott FJ400. Now, if you guys don't know, I've been using this. I've owned this thing for like a year and a half maybe. And I've used it on tons of portraits of my family. I used it on this shoot, and I feel like the lighting was the real difference maker here. Like, I think lighting is the biggest difference maker on anything: video, photo, filmmaking, cinematography. Lighting is everything, and having this external light, the strobe, really stepped it up. I enjoyed every image that came out of both cameras. I think mostly attributed to this. I might be making a separate video about this guy, because this may be the best photography piece of gear that I've ever bought, and I think it deserves its own video. But yeah, I took some dope photos with some dope cameras, and hopefully you guys like this video. Aside from that, it's been a little bit of a hiatus from YouTube. I took a couple weeks off of just sitting down and talking to this camera, and I don't think it was a conscious decision. I think it was just like my mind, body, it was like, yo, chill out. Took a little mental health break, but yeah, I really want to try to get this content out weekly to you guys. I really want to give YouTube a real good go. So I really appreciate and love all of you guys out there that are sitting here watching these videos and gaining something from them. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. Being a YouTuber and being on YouTube and making this content and having a community has always been a dream of mine. So you guys are kind of making that come true with every like, every comment, every subscription. So I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly, and hopefully you feel that coming through the video. Hopefully you feel the sincerity. This has gone on too long. I appreciate you guys for even being here. I've said that enough, right? I don't know how to end this right now. I think I already ended it. But until next time, guys.